Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Golden Goal Fantasy Football Podcast. We're back to our roots with this one and chatting some FanTeam content. And as usual, I'm joined by Sam. How you getting on, mate? How's your fan teams looking?
Yeah, it's kind of all right. Like hard to tell, really. Sort of Start had a really poor first week on the half season game, and then had a much better week on the half season game last week to like bring me up from like I was like super low rank, and now I'm like middle of the road because I had a good week. I think I was ended the game week rank at about 11 or 1200th, something like that. And then on the season long one, I kind of had a good first week and then a poorer second week of Mr. Jesus Hall. So they're both in even positions. I'm not too worried about the rank at the moment. What I'm more concerned about is getting my team looking how I want it to look moving forward. And I'm sure you're the same. So rank kind of irrelevant. Can I get those moves to set me up now till the World Cup really, and get those right players in those gems, especially with price changes as well. So that's where I'm at with it at the moment, mate. No need to panic, and yeah, looking forward to see if I can start manipulating that team. What about you?
Cool. Yeah, similar story really. I'm only playing the full season game. I've obviously got the single team in there, and yeah, I'm about 1,000th. Again, I didn't have Jesus. I've got Kane, Tony, and Haaland up front. So
Is that
unfortunately
your
missed
rank?
the 1,000th, mate. It's not too bad. There are
What
16, 17,000 teams, so it's not too bad.
what points are you on out of interest? Because then we can look.
136.2.
See, I'm on 116, down at six thousand five
Oh, yeah,
hundred.
there's not much in that then, is there?
No, but it's kind of critical that I start already. Like, don't get left behind too much. You made a good start there, mate. I said I've not made such a good start, so um, yeah, and we'll see why in a minute. But
Yeah, quickly flash
good
up the
start for you,
teams.
mate. Good
Yeah,
start for
mine's on the
you.
left on this screen, so looks like we got the same keeper in Martinez. I just think we've lost the luck of the draw really with Martinez. I think it was quite close between Martinez and Pope. Martinez felt the better pick just for the opening fixtures, but it looks like Pope has outshone him recently. But Pope does have Man City next, and Martinez has Palace. So I'd like to think that this week alone, Martinez could outscore him. My defence, I've got Van Dijk, Dyer, Cancelo, Saliba, and then Perraud there on the bench. I'm happy with those four, to be honest. The only thing is, Cucurella playing for Chelsea is 5 million. So I think he could be a potential upgrade on Dyer. But I just think I have other problems in my team to fix, so I'll just be sticking with Eric Dyer. Midfield of Salah, Neto, Martinelli, and then I've got Dewsbury Hall and Gibbs White on the bench. Pretty much happy with all five of those players except for Neto. I think Neto's been a little bit underwhelming. And when I read through the rest of my team, I'll tell you the move that I'm considering. It's got 2 free transfers racked up now. I didn't use a transfer last weekend. And yeah, my front three, I got Kane, Tony, and Haaland. Happy with those three. I think there are 4, maybe 5 outstanding forwards. You've got Kane, Tony, Wilson, Jesus, and Haaland, and you can only pick 3 of them. And I've gone for Kane, Tony, and Haaland.
Yeah, nice, mate.
The one move that I am considering, and I probably will bite the bullet on it, is I can do Kane and Neto out for Jesus and Kulusevski. So I still keep myself a Spurs asset, but I downgrade Kane to Jesus. I think come the end of the season, there won't be a great deal between Kane and Jesus, but between Neto and Kulusevski, there will be. So I think it's worth that move. And I think using my 2 free transfers on that is probably worthwhile.
Nice, mate. Sounds logical to me.
And I think Richarlison obviously is a factor now for Spurs, but he seems to be replacing Son rather than Kulusevski. Kulusevski seems to have that right-hand side nailed down, but Richarlison looks to be playing, in pre-season he came on for Kane, and then I think against Chelsea he came on for Son. Kulusevski's been safe, so I really like the Neto to Kulusevski swap. That's what I'm going to do anyway.
Yeah, like it, mate. Do
How
like
about
that.
yourself?
So the team I've sent is the one with changes. So I've already made. So I'll read over the team that I had for game week
Yep.
two. I had the Martinez and Cash double up, 87th minute. Luca Dean own goal. Just what do you do, mate? That would have been the difference from me being at 6,000, probably 2 or 3,000. Yeah. Saliba, same as you. Cancelo and Van Dijk, obviously no clean sheet there for Van Dijk again, so a little bit disappointing. But I'd imagine a few people have some Liverpool assets defensively, so not a major concern right now. Salah, Martinelli, and Aronson. Really happy with Martinelli. Looks like a season keeper as long as he keeps his place. Salah 51% owned as of the time of my screenshot here. So, no big drama there, and always comes out as one of the highest scorers of the season. So fine to leave him. Aronson, he was cheap and I think he looked really good in pre-season. 5 million, I think. So just keep an eye on him and see kind of what happens. No immediate worry yet. But if this team does start to look like I've got multiple fires, I'm just going to pull the wild card trigger. I'm not even going to think twice about it and try and get that team looking right. Because there's a few people here that I don't really want, if I'm honest, which would probably be Martinez, Cash, Aronson, Saliba, maybe even Van Dijk. So I'm like looking at it going, I could just do an overhaul here, but I haven't done that yet. And then I had Wilson, Kane and Haaland up front. And so the moves that you've seen me make are to bring Tony and Jesus in. I think with Wilson playing playing Man City, and just Tony just looking like I didn't know which way it'd go, but certainly early season form, been really, really impressed with him. A bit annoying that I had Aït-Nouri and Gibbs White on the bench. Aït-Nouri obviously got a 4-pointer and Gibbs White got the 3-pointer, but it's always nice to have a half decent bench there, I guess, Tom. So yeah, not like entirely convinced. Could have made some moves at the back, but I chose for the same reason. Well, what you've just said, I chose to leave Cash and Martinez at least for one more week and see, if they get anything against Palace. I think it was a third game in a row where they concede. Then, yeah, I'm going to definitely look to stop, maybe pull one of them out unless there's any bigger fires in there. But yeah, not really happy massively with the team at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. I was going to say anything to try and comment on your team, but honestly, mate, you've nailed it there. You did say you were looking to get rid of Saliba. I think he is the best 4.5 million defender in the game at the moment, especially with Arsenal's fixtures coming up. I wouldn't sell Saliba, but the rest, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, good shout. I've kind of got my Sky head on still at the moment. And of course, 4.5 for you, not going to get much better than that. But I think if I overhauled or wildcarded Martinez, Cash, Van Dijk, Aronson, would be out as it stands right now. Obviously, like in Sky, you get passing bonus for Van Dijk, but if he ain't got any clean sheets or whatever, then you're sort of thinking, well, why have I got him in there? He's not the world's biggest goal threat, and I think I would love to have I'd love to have Reece James in this side. So that would be potentially where I'd look to upgrade next. As I said, I'm using the balance, Tom, of not trying to be too rash. Obviously, I made 2 moves up front. I could have made them further back, but I'm going to give those boys another game, and then I'll see for next week. I'm not afraid of pulling the trigger already and getting that team reorganised.
I've just got the fixture grid up at the moment, and it probably rings true when you were talking about players there. Just looking at the upcoming fixtures, this is Ben Crellin's fixture grid, by the way. I always got to give him credit when we show this one. It's stuck on Gameweek 2, and I couldn't get rid of it. So unfortunately, you're looking at fixtures that have already been played. So if you look at this grid from 3 onwards, best fixture runs in my opinion, definitely Arsenal for the next 5-6 weeks. They've got Bournemouth, Fulham, Aston Villa, Man United, Everton, and Brentford. So that's a fantastic fixture run. Similar to, that's why I was trying to convince you to keep Saliba, mate, because I think there are a number of clean sheets in there for him.
And I've got triple now. I've got triple Arsenal in there, so that's obviously a nice spine. Saliba, Martinelli, Jesus. So I am happy with that. The fires there are, as you said, the double Villa. Potentially, I mean, I'm going to start Dewsbury Hall this week and put Aronson to the bench. So, there is options there. Sorry, mate, you carry on with.
That's okay. I just highlighting the teams with some good fixture runs. Really, Brentford are next up. They got in their next 5-6 weeks. They got Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace, Leeds, Southampton, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Brighton. So they got a really nice fixture run for the next number of weeks. So yeah, you've just bought Ivan Toney. I think he's going to be a popular move for a number of people. 90-minute man, got an excellent fixture run. Obviously, Man United made him look good, but even in the first game, I thought he looked really good as well. So yeah, like him, as well as Mbeumo as well. I'm just going to have a quick look to see what his price is in FanTeam, because I think Mbeumo is a good option too. Let's have a quick look at that. Let's have a quick look at Brentford players. Mbeumo's 6 million, so I've got the luxury of 2 free transfers and Neto, but I think if you were looking to move Neto on, I think Mbeumo is a really good shout for that. And then another team with good fixtures, looking at it, Chelsea. In their next 5, they've got Leeds, Leicester, Southampton, West Ham, Fulham, and then after Liverpool, they got Crystal Palace, Wolves, Aston Villa, Brentford. So I think Chelsea got some really nice fixtures as well.
Yeah, I was kind of almost debating a -4 from Van Dijk to Reece James, because I do think he could score big against Leeds. Although Leeds are a little bit more robust in the way that they play, with March as their gaffer. I still think that could be a really good tie for Reece James, and then that sets me up then with Reece James moving forward. But the problem lies with bloody double Villa still. Anyone else there, Tom, that you kind of...
I mean, Liverpool, really. I think we all knew at the start of the season they had a good run. They've got United, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, Wolves, and then Chelsea. But certainly for the next 5 weeks, they've got decent games as well. So, like you're saying, you wanted to get rid of Van Dijk for James. I think it's probably James will outscore Van Dijk, but I don't think it'd be by that much. So, I think you can quite comfortably keep Van Dijk for those next 5, and he'll probably get 3 or 4 clean sheets, in my opinion.
I think I've got money for Matty Cash to James, so that could be, that would be potentially more tempting, and then it just gives me 1 Villa asset. So if Martinez does concede, you're not like as frustrated, and then you can do Martinez the next week to a Pope or whatever. I mean, that's kind of my thinking. Pope for after the Newcastle game, maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Sorry, the gap to the Man City game. Sorry,
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, hang on, Pope is doing much better than Martinez here. I should swap him out. But because Pope's got Man City, I'm going to make those 2 moves and then look to do Martinez to Pope next week if I have the transfers in hand. Yeah, I think that covers it quite nicely.
I took a few -4s last season, if you remember, and they all paid off. Like, it threw me up the ranks. I think there's definitely a time and a place for it. So I'm not against doing Matty Cash to James.
I really like that, mate. I like that move. I think that'll work out well for you. And then you can do Martinez to Pope with your free transfer next week. I think it works quite well.
And then it saves using the wild card then, and you can just rotate Dewsbury Hall and Aronson for now, and then potentially look to change that should I wish in the next couple of weeks after that. And then if you do need to hit a wild card, then you can completely reorganise your side.
Yeah, I like it, mate. I like that. That's about it, really. Just have a look at
what before the questions, Tom. What are you thinking for captaincy next week?
So for game week 3,
yeah,
it's a tough one. I think I'll just go Salah
against United,
and then I'll have Jesus as my vice, because I just think United looks so bad. Like there is no way that they beat Liverpool or even lay a glove on them. I think it's the perfect fixture for Liverpool to bounce back in. We know what happened last season. Salah got a hat-trick. I just think the way United are playing at the moment, the way that Liverpool press, I think they'll destroy them, and probably keep a clean sheet. So Salah gets some extra points. So.
You think I've not seen any of the United games this season, so obviously you're a United fan, so I'm going to go off what you're saying. They
just lost 4-0 to Brentford. They are terrible.
Yeah.
I would be captaining Salah against United.
Is it the sort of worst you've seen them in a long time, and that's...
I would say, I won't go into too much, but as a football club, we are at the lowest point I've ever seen in my life. It's that bad. And the performance on Sunday, can't remember when it was. The performance against Brentford was horrendous. It was probably the worst Man United performance I've ever seen. Apart from, I remember under Van Gaal, we lost like 4-2 to MK Dons or something, but we were playing like a youth team in that game, so he just threw the game to try it as youth players. But yeah, it was basically our best 11 against Brentford, and they lost 4-0. So yeah, I'd be captaining Salah, mate.
Interesting. I was sort of thinking Jesus or Haaland. I even thought about Cancelo, to be honest with you.
I think the one thing to consider is there's going to be a big Glazers out protest for the Liverpool game. So there is a risk the game could get called off, but you've got a vice captain in FanTeam, so I think it's perfectly feasible to captain Salah and then just put your vice on Jesus. That would be my plan, I think.
Nice shout. Yeah, and obviously with Salah, you've got the extra bit more from those midfielders, haven't you, points wise? I always like to try and captain a midfielder in FanTeam if I can, for that reason.
Are Man City at home to Newcastle or
They're
away? They're away, because the thing I've noticed about Newcastle is defensively at home they've been really, really solid. So I wouldn't say Man City will have a very difficult time scoring, but I think they will score less goals than they have in their previous games, because Newcastle have looked really quite good defensively at home. So yeah, I think it's the captains are Kane, Son, because I think Spurs have got a good fixture against Wolves. I won't own them, but I think Kane or Son are good captains. And then Salah and Jesus. I think you've got four perfectly good captains to pick from. We should probably do a captaincy poll actually and see what
yeah, we will. Thinking. Yeah, we will do that because I think it could be quite a split week for sure.
Anything else on that, or okay to get onto the questions?
Yeah, happy to go on the questions.
Cool. So first up from our mate Luke Notley. Thank you, Luke, for asking your question. So he's got a similar sort of thing to me, really. He's considering doing Kane to Jesus, which allows him to upgrade Matip to Trent. And is it worth it?
I mean, Trent's looked pretty good going forward in the couple of, well, especially against Palace there, like on the ball crosses and stuff like that. It's whether he thinks that Liverpool are going to get back to that defensive quality that they've shown a lot over the last couple of years. As I mentioned on the Sky one, and hopefully Luke probably watches the Sky one as well, I talked about the fact that Nat Phillips isn't going to play every game week, and that when Gomez is fit, he's a very high quality centre back, and so therefore going to improve Liverpool's defence straight away. And I believe if he hasn't re-injured himself, he's going to start versus United. He holds a great little record with Van Dijk for Liverpool in that year they won the title for clean sheets. So I'm biased because I'm a Liverpool fan, but I do think he's an excellent centre back. So that would then make Trent a more attractive asset. I think the downside potentially could be no Darwin for 3, maybe 4 games, dependent. I don't know if he's been given like the violent conduct 4-game ban.
I think he'll get the big ban, yeah.
So obviously with that and Bobby Firmino, but like sort of not quite fit, it would maybe put me off Trent a little bit. And I would personally look towards maybe if you're going to go for a defender, maybe more of a defense like a Reece James or something like that, who's statistically looking pretty solid at the moment as well.
And to be honest, I'm not sure. Obviously, Matip's injured, so it does make sense to get rid of him. But I would also look at your midfield as well and see where you can upgrade there, because I think there's real. I'm going Kulusevski because I think there's a real upside to him compared to like 6 million midfielders, which I think are, and especially if you've got Kane up front. I'd imagine you've got Kane and Haaland, Luke. So you're probably sitting on maybe 1, maybe 2, 6 million mids. So if you're not content, maybe got Neto in your team or something. I think Neto to Kulusevski is. I'm making that move, so I just really rate Kulusevski, and I think at 7.5, comparing him to Son at over 10 and Kane at 11, I think he's really good value.
Yeah, I like the Jesus move. I think it's kind of common sense. I don't think it's point chasing personally. I think we talked about this on the Sky Pod earlier. He looked really good in the opening game. Didn't obviously get the goal, but he looked superb, didn't he, the other day? He's just absolute focal point of Arsenal, and with their wide players and Odegaard and Martinelli and Saka in and around, like he's going to get loads of chances, and he looks really confident. Shackles off, showing Pep what he's missing really. So I really like that Jesus move, and they've got 3 or 4, maybe 5, as you alluded to earlier, Tom. Really nice fixtures.
Next question from Shenanigans. I think he's saying the same question really. Would you drop Kane or Haaland to free up the funds? Um, the thing I've got is I've got both Kane and Haaland, and I want to get Jesus, but I'm asking myself a question: do I want to get rid of Kane or do I want to get rid of Haaland? Because if I get rid of Haaland, I free up an extra million. So I'm flipping a coin really on who I get rid of out of Kane and Haaland. I know. Haaland's been really good, but Kane scored against Chelsea. He also looks really quite bright. It's a really tough one for me. I don't know.
Yeah, my personal preference would be Kane, but it doesn't obviously mean that I am right. That's just the way I feel like Haaland in that City team is just going to get so many chances. And we talked about this on the Sky, but lots of sort of similarities here, Tom, with that Foden chance.
Yeah,
And quite obvious, isn't it, that Pep wants those wide players to feed Haaland, because Foden got what goal and assist. He was hooked at half time, and then Pep came out afterwards and actually spoke about the fact that Foden didn't square it across to Haaland. And I think once that starts happening, Haaland can have 9 or 10 touches in a game and get a couple of goals, because of the chance creation that Man City provided. I don't know what your thinking is there.
yeah. No, my comment was going to be slightly different. Really, it was about captaincy, and I think looking at the rest of the season, well, maybe game week 6. So because obviously I think every week we're either going to captain Salah, Haaland, or a Spurs player. I think that's pretty standard for everyone to be doing that. So if I look at the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks, so I would captain Salah this week against United. Man City have got Palace next week, and Tottenham have Forest, but Liverpool have Bournemouth. So I'd captain Salah again. Game week 5, Newcastle have got Liverpool have got Newcastle, City have got Forest, so I'd captain Haaland, and Tottenham have got West Ham. Then the following week, Tottenham have Fulham, Man City have Villa, and Liverpool have Everton. So maybe Kane is the standout there, but not entirely sure. I just think if you look at captaincies, I think you would feasibly captain Haaland game week 5, and you'd be less likely to captain Kane. So I think for that reason, I'd get rid of Kane. Just because I'd rather captain Haaland than Kane, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just worth keeping an eye on what you think Pep's going to do in relation to when the Champions League starts. Maybe it's a little bit early to talk about it right now, but we know that Haaland does pick up soft tissue injuries and his minutes are going to be managed. Obviously, his first choice. Does he just come off at 70 minutes when City are cruising 4-0 to save his legs for the next game? But then again, Tom, even in 70 minutes, he could do a lot of damage, couldn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think we know the answer to what's going to happen there.
No, it's very grey, isn't it? And that's what makes FanTeam both annoying for us trying to pick players and really good this season, because there are so many grey area decisions, I think, where you just pick one player and hope they do better, I think. Like there's Kane and Haaland. Kane's $1 million cheaper than Haaland, so that balances out the potential upside. I just don't know. I think it's so close. But hopefully we've given you some arguments that might sway you either way. I'm torn, but yeah, maybe the captaincy might make me want to drop Kane, I think. Next question from Yakubu. He's saying, like many of us, he's got 2 free transfers, but the only players he fancies switching are his 5 to 6 million midfielders. Currently, he's got Neto and Podence, and he's asking, who are your favourites in that price range? Is it worth to transfer to the better ones or look for extra money and upgrade the midfielders to Gundogan and Sterling?
I like Gundogan as a shout, by the way. Is he now club captain?
Club captain, yeah.
Just having a look.
That's all right.
Martinelli's obviously...
yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martinelli the standout. And I've mentioned Kulusevski a number of times, but I think I'm going to be moving on to Kulusevski, who I think is the sort of upgrade that you'd be looking at that sort of price range. So I really like Kulusevski myself.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the 6 million. And I did this the other day because had a similar thought to Yakubu as well about, like, was there any upgrade for me on Aronson? I just didn't see any standouts at that 6 million mark. I think what you need to come to, um, yeah, even 6.5, not blown away of anything as of yet. From that 7 million mark onwards, obviously you've got Gundogan at 7 million. So would you be tempted there, Tom, to do like I know Podence is really cheap though, isn't he? So you're not going to make much on Podence in terms of like being able to downgrade one of them to upgrade to a Gundogan. I don't know what his money in the bank is, but I think that could be a great shout.
Yeah, I think if I was on Neto and Podence, I would just make a sideways move from Neto to Martinelli, to be honest.
I think that's yeah. He looks great, doesn't he?
Did I talk about another sideways move for Neto as well? And Buemo as well is a good option from Brentford. I think he's got excellent fixtures, but Martinelli is definitely better than Buemo. So if you don't own Martinelli, I'd get him, and then if you do own him, I'd go Neto to Buemo, and then keep Podence because I think 5 million. You're not going to expect too much from him, so just leave him and start Martinelli or Buemo instead, I reckon.
Yeah, and then I'm going to shout someone else out in the 8 million mark, and we talked about him on Sky. Tom, it's James Maddison, midfield option, assist and a goal. He doesn't get a clean sheet point, obviously, because Leicester are trash at the back. But he had a good season last season, particularly I think towards the kind of second half of the season. Started right back under the radar again this season. Midfielder. So he for me is someone who's a bit of food for thought if you can fit him into the structure of your side.
Yeah, I just pulled up the fixtures, and there were a couple of difficult games for them, but they're really not that bad.
Leicester.
So they got Southampton. Yeah, sorry for Leicester. They got Southampton, Chelsea, Man United, Brighton, Villa, Tottenham. Then after game week 9, they got Forest, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Leeds, and Wolves. So you probably play your wild card by that point.
Mate,
But it's not a bad run at all, is it? And yeah.
I think you do damage against any of those teams. I think like from an assist or goals perspective. Yeah, I don't hate that at all. If he stays fit and he keeps doing the business and he's carried on from the end of last season, I really think he's a good pick. And if Vardy stays fit as well, with Vardy ahead of him, you'd expect some assists there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, he got one against Arsenal, and then he did well at the weekend as well. So,
Yeah, he
sorry, got a goal against Arsenal, and then an assist in the opener
against Brentford. Yeah.
Final question. This lad must be local to me going on his name, and it's impossible to say it without sounding like I come from the West Country. Norton Gas. So he says, does the option to roll more than 2 transfers change any of your strategies?
For me, it's not. It's a no. Like it's so difficult to look at your team that's clearly got fires to be put out and go, I'm just going to roll. Like I think it might change it if you're doing well, like you're like really inclined then to like leave it. If you're like pretty comfortable with your team, you're doing well, you're at like a good rank, and you're looking at it going, well, actually, X player's got a good fixture there. Maybe I don't want him long term. He's got a good fixture. You might just allow that to roll, and then you can create like almost a little mini wild card when you've got 5 or 6 transfers roll. But I think if you're in trouble, the last thing you want to do is fall behind. I've just shown that with my team, and with all the best intentions in the world, I'm never going to roll any transfers with that side, with kind of the way that it's looking. If anything, I'm going to take hits to get it to where I need it to be. So I think it depends what side of the coin you're on there, Tom, in relation to that question.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've got a couple of moves I want to make, and they look better than rolling the transfer. Yeah, I just think it just depends on the position of your team, really.
I think there was points last season in my team where I had 2 transfers and was like, I don't really know what to do here. And I think in my head, I was like, can I make one somewhere that's slightly better so that when it goes to the end of the week again, I've got 2? I think very differently this season. I think if I'm like really content with my team, I'm not going to be looking for that little slight bench player change or slight upgrade somewhere else. Like I'm just going to leave it roll. And to have 4 transfers in the bank instead of 2 because you know that you can roll them is probably going to be
it's basically a wild card, isn't it? I think.
So I think game state creates the strategy there, and hopefully I'm in that position later in the season when I've got my team more organised to how I want it to look. At the moment, that feels a million miles away. That I'll be in that position where I can allow a few to roll, and yeah, the stress won't be there to try and make a move to maintain the two, or feel like I'm wasting one when I can roll them.
I think that's a very good answer, mate. I can't top that. You've nailed it. Yeah, hopefully that helps you, Mr. Norton Gas. And yeah, I'm a Bristol City season ticket holder, so unlucky at your result against Barnsley yesterday.
I can hear your accent, Tom. You're getting more Bristolian just from
Norton Gas. Yeah, I know.
just from the game. You know, you're going to the stadium and hearing them all in there, mate. It's rubbing off on you.
I think we'll leave it there. That was it for the questions. Anything else you wanted to add, mate? Fan team related? I think that covers me quite nicely.
No, just wait for game week 38 when you're full Bristol by that point.
Well, I live here now and everything, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's everything, and we'll stick a poll out, won't we, for the
captaincy poll.
So keep an eye on that. And just thanks to everyone that's viewing, watching, interacting, and commenting, and all those sorts of things. We absolutely love it. We all said we just wanted two of us to come and chat through our fantasy teams, and it helps us kind of put clarity on our moves, and it's done that for me today, Tom, and moving forward. So just delighted that a few people come along for the ride with us.
Yeah, and said this on the Sky video as well. You know, we never started doing this like fully expecting or chasing numbers or anything. It was a lovely opportunity for two mates to chat about fantasy football because, well, I don't know if you're in the same position, Sam. I've got friends that enjoy football, but they're not geeky fantasy players like I am. Yeah. So it's just nice to have that chat. And yeah, thank you for your support. Our FanTeam videos have been doing really well. So yeah, it's testament to everyone watching. It's just very thankful for your love and support. So yeah, we'll leave it there and catch you next week in a bit.
Thanks, guys.